and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're talking about the homelessness crisis. We're talking about what needs to happen to end it and what is going to happen if it is not addressed. Okay, so let's just go to what's going to happen because that's going to be quick and easy. So if a complicated solution isn't enacted, then the low IQ crew is going to come in and their solution is going to be forced labor camps and mass executions. Okay? So, and it'll be all under the guise of, law and order. Okay? It'll be heinous. And nobody wants to live through that. But that is what's going to happen. That is going to be the solution to the homelessness crisis if smart people like myself aren't listened to and done exactly what we say. I mean, I just don't know what else to say. So you're either going to do what I say or you're not. And if you don't do what I say, then the morons are going to take over. And they're going to kill people. And they're going to make labor camps. And it's going to be the most heinous thing you've ever seen in your life. Okay? So it's time to just do what I say if you don't like heinous shit. All right? Full stop. All right? And when I say complicated, it's just not as easy as forced labor and exterminations. Okay? So first of all, you have to look at what caused this massive problem in the first place. Well, it all starts with policies of these people that their lineage would do the mass executions and forced labor camps, okay? So the same people, those people in the past, their policies have created these problems, all right? And it's things like when Reagan shut down the insane asylums, okay? They needed to be overhauled and needed to be, modernized, not just completely eliminated, because that just took all those people and put them on the streets and in the prisons, all right? That's a horrible idea, all right? So we need nationwide mental health facilities that just take care of the people that have these mental issues. Okay, it's just what needs to happen. There is really no other solution. They're going to live on the streets, they're going to be in prison, or we're going to do the appropriate thing. And in some cases, their mental health can be rolled back and they can be turned into productive citizens. Okay? So that's a no-brainer. Undoing the fascist policies of the past is how we have a bright future. Okay? Shutting down the insane asylums wasn't a good idea. Okay? So there's one step, one constant stream of homeless people is people with broken heads, all right? Okay, number two, the drug laws in this country are all founded in racism, okay, with racist intent, okay? So racists writing racist laws with racist outcomes being their intent, all right? Cocaine goes with black people. Heroin goes with Asian people. And cannabis goes with Hispanic people. All right? Sorry about the wind. It's just being a bitch. So, these laws that were all created with racist intent in mind have created this giant juggernaut of stupidity of how to deal with drugs, okay? I mean, look, you got the Sacklers that just basically, came in and took advantage of the drug war and, did like a UK to China kind of move on their own country. Like they destabilized the United States with their heroin shit, okay? All right, so all drugs, legal, period. All the soft drugs go into the cannabis stores, okay? All the hard drugs go into the pharmacies. And yes, no more fucking drug laws, okay? Period. If you want to end the homeless crisis, you need to end the fascist drug laws, the racist drug laws that puts people in situations that is just never necessary. Okay, I could go on and I have gone on a whole entire rant on just this subject. Okay, there's obviously a lot to it, but the drug laws are way worse than the drugs ever could have been. All right, the drug laws have completely disintegrated big chunks of the Constitution. It's more important to have this drug-free society that has never happened with all the militarization of the police. Okay. So there's another huge pipeline of problems because there's this complete broken mind addressing drug usage. Like drug usage equals a worthless, addicted human, period. Like you can't even party once in a while, according to these people, and not be just a complete drug addicted, worthless human, okay? So that all has to change. Now, you change this, you change that, and now we're talking about a huge chunk of homelessness that's already taken care of. Okay, now there also needs to be, in this society is a very complicated society, and to try to, expect every single person when you have no constraints on birthing, okay, to expect every single person just to be able to figure it out well enough to be able to maintain their shit is just narrow-minded, all right? So there needs to be a baseline that people can fall into that just aren't the brightest people. The jobs, and unfortunately, mechanization is taking those jobs away from these people faster then we can provide them with jobs. So we've got environmental catastrophe, for example, with the junipers that needs massive labor to freaking take care of. Well, massive labor. Now, I'm not talking about labor camps. I'm just talking about people who really can't get any other kind of work. And I'm not talking about forcing them. But look, here it is. Housing, job, food, the whole package. Federal government freaking supplying this like they did back in the 30s with this whole like getting America back to work thing. All right. So, and something big that's just not just a one-off program, that's just a program going indefinitely for the people that just can't get it. Okay. And not being a super authoritarian environment either. I mean, the people that don't get it and the people who just drop out, and there's a million reasons for this. And a lot of them point back to people who shouldn't have bred in the first place. Okay, but people could have all kinds of issues, and they do. And right now, they're just living out in the streets everywhere, okay, where they could be in places where they had a place that they could call theirs, and they could have stuff, and they had things to do and report to do. But it's going to be a very minimal lifestyle, obviously, but it's much better and it's much more humane to do this than just have and literally making it where there's people on the streets, they immediately just get scooped up. And okay, what's the issue? You got mental issues, you got drug issues, you got what do you got? Okay. And not putting them in a fucking jail cell or anything like this. I'm talking housing. Get them into housing, okay? And housing has to be something that is just a right, that is just guaranteed. Sure, it's not going to be fancy, but guess what? This society that we have is super complicated and super above a lot of people's abilities to mechanize, to cope and to deal with and to just do it. Okay? And so anybody that might say, oh, well, tough shit. Well, what are you saying about the homelessness situation? Okay? I'm sure your theory of how to deal with the homelessness is work camps and executions. Okay? I'm talking about providing, yeah, and work camp is a subjective thing, because if there's work and there's housing and there's food and all this, not forced to be there, can come and go, it's not really a work camp, right? That, what I'm talking about is just work, forest work, grasslands work, just that kind of work, and not necessarily forcing these people to do 40 hours a week to be able to have a house and food and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about the people that are on the streets. They're not capable of doing, and some are. Some just need to step up, and when you give them what I'm talking about, they will go up and above and beyond and get out and become fully back productive members of society. That will happen, okay? That won't happen if the fascists get their way with the fenced off work camps and the execution ovens, okay, which is coming if you don't pay attention to me, all right? I hate to be so blunt, but yeah. So this is what needs to happen to end homelessness. People are so fucking tired of it. And it's not a Portland thing. It's not an Oregon thing. I drove to freaking Tacoma last fall and I saw homeless people my entire drive. Okay, all the way through Oregon and Washington. And they're all in California. And they're in New York. And they're everywhere. Okay? Because society has so many broken policies that were written by racist, mean people. I mean, the poor African Americans, they got released from slavery. They were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule, okay, to help them get on their feet from just being a slave. Well, they never got that. They got freaking 100 years of Jim Crow, okay? That has repercussions. Some of their minds cannot handle the brutality that this society has put on them. Okay? So do you want them just living on a sidewalk and defecating on this? Or do you want to literally create a whole entire thing that is an apparatus for just, that's not cages, that's not camps that have fences around them, okay? I mean, some of the mentally ill might need to be behind fences. They might be that, like they just wander off and all this kind of thing. It's insane asylum level stuff. That level needs to have, we need to have that availability, but it doesn't need to be in a fucking jail setting. It doesn't need to be in a prison setting, okay? They're mentally ill. They're not criminals. And you leave them on the streets long enough and eventually they'll turn into criminals. Well, that's fucking stupid, because the fucking jails and prisons are not set up to deal with the mental health issues that can actually get people back into society. That if it would have been in before their criminal actions never would have happened. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Okay? This is not rocket science, okay? But we need to actually do this. We need to have Medicare for all, okay? Because a lot of people end up homeless because of medical debt. Okay, I ended up in the hospital for a fire here. Long story short, the hospital has a lien on my property, okay? So medical debt is just a crippling thing, okay? To be an American to be an earthling should mean that you can just get all the things taken care of. Nobody wants to see anybody that just sits on their butt all day long and just does absolutely nothing and just eats but we have that now. People do that all over the time. And somehow they have afforded to be able to do that, like from inheritance money or from some kind of bad manipulated way of, getting money or whatever. Okay. So if we provide this baseline for people, it's going to alleviate crime, it's going to make people's lives better, and it's going to prevent the most heinous thing anybody's ever seen. Because if we don't do what I'm talking about, what's going to happen is going to be fucking horrific, okay? You got to hear me. Have a good day. Peace.